OK, well, let's start off with Cardinia Park last night. The lights were on, but it took a little while for the Cats to warm up.
You're right, TJ. The Western Bulldogs kicked the first 4 goals of the game. They led by 26 points. Before this third quarter was as dominant as you're going to see. Plus 27 disposals, plus 10 inside 50s. They kicked 8 goals to 0 in this period, and it was like a tsunami. The Western Bulldogs defence completely broke down, as you saw there. Geelong were able to get in behind them, and there was nothing that they could do to stop this. So what I admire about Geelong, when things aren't going well, they're able to turn it around. Like last week, Port Adelaide smashed them during the third quarter. They then regained the momentum in the last quarter and go on and win. So they're just a seasoned, hardened group that when challenged can respond better than any other team in the competition at the moment.
It's a major problem for this club now, isn't it, Kane? That goes back to the grand final of last year where they just let goals be kicked against them when the opposition gets on a surge, the Bulldogs. So 12 consecutive goals from the midway point of the third quarter of that grand final, 16 of 17 in total. It's carried into this year. The very first game against Melbourne, 6 goals. You can see what's happened there in subsequent games, inclusive of last night, where it wasn't just the 8 goals in the third quarter, but 9 in succession as well. You can see why Luke Beveridge has made those comments 3 weeks ago, that the best has passed them.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the 6, 6 and 6 has probably hurt them more than any other side. You can't put any numbers behind the ball at stoppage, at centre bounce, and then that was just out the front once again. So the fact that they haven't been able to learn from that and the fact that they just get overrun is a real issue for the group, and it's going to cost them at the pointy end of the season. Nath?
Kane, you said they broke down defensively. For the first quarter and a half, they were outstanding. Their pressure was great and they had really good shape behind the football. When Geelong went inside their forward half of the ground, there was always an extra number for the Western Bulldogs. But, as we'll see, that broke down as the game went on and they just allowed players out the back, and then they didn't want to put pressure on the midfield where they'd been so good when he contested footy in the first quarter and a half. So this is Tom Liberatore. Here's Gary Rowan. And this takes a long time, so we've sped it up. Tom Liberatore centres the ball up, and this is when the Bulldogs are actually in front. So they go to the centre half orders, an attacking kick. But how long has Gary Rowan on centre wing got to get forward? Somebody had to pick him up. He is still standing 20 metres out from goal, all on his own, Gary Rowan. So not sure it's McRae's man. It's not Libba's man either. So then this one, Bailey Dale. Bailey Dale kicks the ball forward, and again the Cats will get out the back. Close, he's probably 10 metres on the defensive side of Bailey Dale. Turns the footy over, more worried about his kick missing. Then I'm not sure how Bailey Dale gets this far off Brad Close in 2 to 3 seconds. Over the back, Brad Close kicks that goal. Now I want to watch Stengel out the back here. So they're manning Stengel up on this occasion. The ball goes long out of the defensive 50. So you've got to ask yourself, the Western Bulldogs, are we going in to win the football, or are we going with Tyson Stengel, who's now out the back? This didn't cost them a goal, but it should have cost them a goal. How they are 30 to 40 metres. Now this one, you've got Holmes, you've got Brian Myers there. You've got him covered. The only way he can win the ball is if he leaves back up at the foot. But you've got to take the dangerous space in front of him. The dangerous space is right there. Where's he want to go? He's not going to outmark you from the back, and that's just an easy mark inside forward 50. And then Jack McRae, he's a good runner. He's a really good runner, but how much does he want to run here with Holmes? I don't think Jack McRae really wants to run that hard. Holmes, on the commentary, they said how hard the Cats are running, and that's hard running. I mean, he's not blowing them away, but he's put 20 metres on Jack McRae there, inside forward 50, an easy mark to Jeremy Cameron. Unfortunately, the Dogs didn't want to defend after half-time.
OK, we'll be back with the handball right after this. That was good analysis.
Good. But I know you're referring there to the overall workings of the Bulldogs, but the specifics of the big man, Keith being left out of this team and Cordy coming back in, Gardner in, it's not getting the job done.
I was amazed that they left out Alex Keith. Hasn't been playing the greatest football, but he's a tough defender. He doesn't give you an inch, and I would have played him when you're up against Cameron and Hawkins. I would have played him. I thought they made a mistake there. They brought other players in. Buku Khamis has been really good back there, I thought. A big fist early last night, but then Gary Rowan I think he outthought him as the game went on, but I would have played Alex Keith.
An insider told me he's extremely sore, Alex Keith, so I'm not sure why I didn't say soreness and that it said omitted for some reason.
Well, why didn't they just say
exactly
that if
right.
that's the case? Because, sorry, Lotto, but Luke Beveridge was quite defensive, wasn't he, last night, talking about people ringing up talkback radio stations and on social media saying they're all emotional. If he's got some pretty severe soreness, just say that.
Yeah, and just on that, I reckon they're a mess defensively. They have been all year. They're 12th or 13th ranked defence, the Western Bulldogs. So
why are you going after Rory Lobb? That'd be the question for me for the Western Bulldogs. Is Rory Lobb going to play centre half back? No, he's not. Obviously, he's an extra.
Liam Jones too, Brownie. Well, he's going to be 32 by the time next season starts. I don't think it's the panacea for them.
So I spoke earlier around a player playing for his life at the moment. I love what they've done with Dangerfield. He's playing every game like it's his last. And this effort, Kane. I know it's a close checking areas, but this is one of the greatest individual acts that I've seen this year. So that's Dangerfield. He hurt himself. Even this. So kick gets smothered, but straight back on the ball. Like he's just onto it all over it, and that's what he's got himself fitter. Lena, you touched on earlier in the year, and then I thought Brownie's touched on the ball movement of Geelong, but look at the harassment of the Western Bulldogs. They overwhelmed them in the end, so they're doing it both ways at the moment.
It's outstanding vision, and I thought he was really influential in the second quarter, Dangerfield, when he went on ball, so that's unbelievable. And he's probably been doing it for a long time. Like, his courage is underrated, how hard he attacks the footy.
And, of course, always nice to have a win when it's a milestone occasion, and indeed it was for this man, Joel Selwood. 350 games, a remarkable achievement. There he is with family members and also very close family members of the club, if you like. A guard of honour, past players, as I said, family, friends, and the stands absolutely packed there. I tell you what, it's raised this debate, and I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, and maybe it's even unfair to have it about who is the greatest Geelong player of all when you've got names like the Ablets, plural, this man, Jimmy Bartell, Polly Farmer, and the list would go on beyond that, of course.
He's a superstar, isn't he? Does he go ahead of those guys because of his leadership? Like the junior and the senior were so good at everything they did, but if there was one thing that Joel Selwood is better than them at, it is leading a football club.
Great point. One of the great leaders in the history of our game, that man. And I think he'll be a legend. Will he be legend status of the AFL?
I don't see him being a legend for what it's worth.
So?
No, I mean, Wayne Carey's not a...
In time, he might.
I don't think he will be, no. I don't think a legend.
If you're the best player at a club like Geelong, best player ever, which is in the conversation.
Is he the best player, though, at the club?
He's in the conversation.
I think the leadership component to him is the absolute standout point to him, more so than the playing. And I don't say that to detract from his playing style or way, because he's been extraordinary. But I don't see him as a legend, no. You've got to go in as a player, not for overall leadership.
I see him as a legend one day.
Ahead of Wayne Carey. I mean, Wayne Carey's
Wayne Carey will get there. We're talking like a lot of these legends have to wait till they're 70, 75 years of age to get there. I'm not saying it's going to be in the next 20 years, but eventually, look at his record, as good as any player ever, like across the board.
Joel, if you're watching, we don't mean to rain on your parade there. A lot of us think that you'll become a legend one day in the eyes of many football supporters, particularly Geelong. You already are.